There you have it. Another fantastic season of ReZero has concluded, and thankfully we got a season 4 announcement right off the bat. Yes, not season 3 part 2 like a lot of people were claiming. No, season 4 has been officially confirmed. We even got a trailer for it, which shows Amelia in a very interesting new outfit. It looks like Amelia is getting yet another season upgrade. Got that whole, I don't know, like the Anastasia thing going on with the thigh grabbing dress and all that kind of stuff. Looks fantastic. I am super excited. Seeing the visual, we get to see Rem in there. Rem is in there. Rem has not been forgotten, despite the fact that everybody wants to make that stupid joke that I'm tired of. We have Rem in the visual, so maybe it shows that possibly she'll be involved somehow. Hopefully she'll finally get fixed. She can stop being a damn body pillow, and she can finally talk again. Anyways, I'm super jazzed about season 4. It sounds like, based on what everybody's saying, they're super excited for it. Sounds like it's going to be like the best arc ever. We'll see. That's probably a good year and a half at least away. So we'll see when that comes around. But I have to talk about this episode. The ending. A nice ending point, to be honest. I think the way they end this season was very fantastic. I was really afraid of a nasty stop point. It does feel like everything's concluded. The dust has settled. And we have our next goal. We have that stopping point. They kind of did the same thing with the cut between, the 2 8 episodes, a nice little kind of breathing point. And I think they kind of did well with this one. But can we stop with the whole who is Julius, who is Rem jokes? Like, it's getting so tiresome. Like, what kind of cliffhanger is that? I mean, was anybody watching that scene and going, oh, thankfully she didn't forget Julius? No, it establishes the moment that Subaru walked up there and said, hey, and Julius turned around and immediately says, you know who I am, Subaru? What, there wasn't gonna, was anybody thinking that Amelia was actually going to know who he is? Like, they even tried to do a fake out thing, and it's like, come on, it's cheesy at this point. Can we stop ending every single season with the who is this person? It doesn't need to happen. I don't even know why Subaru's shocked by this. I mean, aren't we used to at this point that this is what's happening with Gluttony? It's fine. At least Subaru knows who he is. It's probably going to be an aspect of really kind of showing Julius that he can really trust Subaru. I mean, they're bros. They're totally being tsundere with their relationship, but they're bros in the end. I mean, they fought together to, take down Petelgeus. These two trust each other. It's more like jokes with them jabbing at each other, but I think it'll kind of bond them a lot more. And I think, obviously, Julius is probably going to go with Subaru wherever he goes, because he can't stay wherever he's going. He can't just go back home because nobody knows who he is. So I think Julius is going to really rely on Subaru to kind of take care of him until this whole thing with Gluttony gets taken care of. Which can we talk about? Konami Kohara just sliding into ReZero. Oh my gosh, we get the appearance of a new lolly. And it's Konami Kohara. Roxy just sliding into the series. The moment that she started talking, I'm like, oh, it's Roxy. It's Roxy. My girl Roxy is in this series. She finally makes an appearance into ReZero. Once again, another melding of the two franchises of Mushoku Tensei and ReZero right here with her. And I like her so far. She's very interesting. I was kind of interested to see how she would play a character like this, because for the most part, Konami Kohara has done mostly just kind of very subtle, very quiet spoken characters. Yes, technically with her role in Kaguya-sama Love is War, she's very loud, she's very goofy, but she's always kind of a dense, goofy character. Even the seiyuu herself says that she plays dumb characters. So I was kind of curious how she'll play what I would assume is going to be a twisted character. Once again, like, all these Gluttony characters are just kind of messed up. And all the witches, cultists, especially the archbishops, are all twisted. So I was curious how she'd play this role. And towards the later part of there, as she's walking away, she starts to get a little crazy. And she sounded like Aoyuki. She does like this really high-pitched yell, and it's like, oh my gosh, she sounded like Aoyuki for a brief moment there, which honestly is a good thing. Like, Aoyuki does Twisted so well. So if she can get that kind of twisted, high-pitched nature, she'll pull it off. I'm actually really excited about this new character now. Hopefully they don't take her out too fast, even though I kind of want at least the other archbishops taken out. But anyways, let's get into the episode proper. I have a lot to talk about in this episode. I'm just mostly talking about the next season and talking about Kohara, but let's talk about the episode proper. Opening up with Beatrice facing off against Lai. Yes, I'm not including Otto because he really didn't do much in this fight. Besides save Beatrice, which, good boy. But yeah, I love the little fake out that Beatrice does. But yeah, she points out the fact that she has a whole bunch of these mana gems. And it implies later on that she got all of these from Al, which, yes, kind of does play into what we kind of talked about before with Al, that it seems like he's going around the background, or at least what Capella was alluding to, that he's walking around the background and he's taking out their own people. They couldn't find out where the witch's body is because he was taking out people. And my assumption there was that possibly he even took out Kiritaka. But it seems like Kiritaka obviously is alive. But Al possibly took out a lot of people in order to get to those gems because he knew they were needed. And so it does get into some discussion that happens later on between Subaru and Beatrice that I think kind of falls in that gray area of sacrificing some lives for some sort of greater good. Like, these people, I need to kill them because I need to prevent them from getting this corpse, and I need these gems because that's what Subaru needs. Kind of is, again, that kind of uncomfortable area that it seems like Al might possibly be falling into. But anyways, yes, she used these gems in order to fight. She only has 5 of them. She needs to keep one of them for Puck. Yes. It does imply later on when Rui's about to walk away, what does Beatrice do? She's holding on to that last gem, and it seems like she wants to use it to take out Rui, but she chooses not to use the gem. And I think that was a decision to let the enemy go for the sake of holding on to that one last gem because Puck means so much to her, that she wants to bring back Puck. Now, it could be a tactical decision that Beatrice is doing there, going, I can't use this last one, mainly because there's a possibility it won't even work, but also a tactical decision in the idea that if we get Puck back, we might be able to win a later battle. So it's not really necessarily a selfish thing completely. It could be the idea that she chose not to use that last gem because for tactical reason, we need it for later on. So it's kind of an interesting thing to kind of point out there, the fact that she chose not to use it despite the fact that she had it in her hand. But yeah, they do kind of emphasize once again that it seems like based on what Lai is doing here, he has to touch individuals and then he licks his hand, and that seems to trigger the effect of people being forgot. Because it is until he goes around, kicks, punches, touches, and then licks his hand, and then suddenly it happens. And it happens with Felt too, because Felt shows up, she has the Metia. Yes, I got that wrong when she talked about that initially, that she's going to leave to get this Metia. The translations for once on the Muse translation, the Asian translation that I got, had it Meteor, and I was like, what's this meteor thing that she's going to get? It was a Metia. But yeah, she shows up with the Metia, quickly uses it to bash him over the head before Beatrice comes up and says, you're using it wrong. Here, let me see. It's actually used as like a freaking staff cannon thing, and she used one of the, like 2 of the gems in order to use that. But yes, the interesting thing is that Beatrice knows about this Metia, immediately grabs it, knows how to utilize it, and then mentions later on that it's something that she's familiar with. She even says while she's using it, Mom. She calls out to her mom, which, yes, at this point we've established who her mother is Echidna. And so this implies that this Metia possibly was carried by Echidna at some point. And yeah, the question mark is, how did Felt and all them acquire this thing? Did they get into there and take some of Echidna's stuff? Maybe it was stashed away when some of her stuff was raided or something like that. Very interesting. But yeah, after Felt hit Lai with the staff, immediately he grabs her, licks his hand, and nothing happens. He's been calling out Felt this entire time. The fact that Felt's this thing that Rui apparently wants, and he needs to get Felt. Felt's now back, tries to lick his hand, and it doesn't happen. And yeah, immediately the moment that happened, I'm like, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all that that's not her name. And again, my assumption would have been at that point that Rom was the one that named her. Rom is the one that brought her in 15 years ago. She was discarded by her actual parents. She mentioned the idea that, I don't know what my parents would have called me. Those geezers probably just discarded me and called me trash or garbage, whatever. I don't know. Don't care. It's not my name. But that's a cool thing, because that pretty much makes her immune to the Archbishop of Gluttony. The fact that she literally doesn't know her name. Like, she can't oops and say her name. Nobody's going to know who the hell she is. Which, yes, goes back to my initial thoughts about who Felt was, that she's probably going to be somebody special. It seems like every single one of these individuals that are part of this royal selection, they're all very important people. And to have some random street rat doesn't really fit. And yeah, the royal selection doesn't have to be only people of royal blood, nobility, or something like that, something really special. It could be simply, yes, choosing a street rat, which is really interesting for Felt's character because she's the nobodies. She's the discarded people. But yeah, I could easily see that she's probably going to end up being a child of some sort of royalty or somebody that was discarded on the streets to protect her or something like that. And that'll probably be her story because right now she doesn't really like the idea of her parents. Yeah, they probably discarded me as trash. That's why I ended up in the streets. But yeah, some later on story could be that, no, they got rid of you because they didn't want you to get killed. There was some coup that was happening, and they wanted to protect you. But yes, that's when we get the appearance of Rui, or Roxy. Roxy finally shows up, comes out of nowhere as some very flamboyant dude, cuts the hell out of Otto's legs, but yes, says a few very interesting things. Initially pointing out the fact that yes, her big brother is useless. Lie is useless. I have to show up and fix everything, and you gave a fake name. But then says, Big Brother got his butt kicked, and Brother just does whatever that woman says. Obviously, yes, Big Brother is referring to Lie. Lie just got knocked out, flattened, which I'm assuming he's still alive because it doesn't seem like anybody celebrates the fact that, oh, everybody knows who Rem is again. It does seem like she probably takes him and flees with him. But the question mark is the other brother, which the assumption is that is Roy. She says he just does whatever that woman says. Question mark, who is this woman that he does whatever he says? I don't think when Roy was in scene did he ever mention a woman. He never brought up another woman. My assumption is that would be either Capella or Pandora. I don't think it will be Capella because, I haven't seen anything that attaches the two of them. Now, because he is a bizarre eater, it would make sense that it's Capella, because Capella could create monsters and creatures that he would love to eat, bizarre things that he would want to eat. But I can see it also being Pandora, because Pandora can then lead him to go to places where he can get food that he wants. He doesn't seem to be picky about what he's eating, so Pandora can say, go here and you can get some really weird food, and he really likes that. So he's going to listen to whatever she says. But again, I might be forgetting, but I don't remember him ever mentioning any females. So interesting who that is. But yeah, Rui ends up saying, we're done here. We're ready to go anyways, so peace out. It seems to imply that she was using Dinas and Gaston as sort of a hostage to get out of there. Like, calls out their names to basically say, sure, you can attack me, but just so you know, I know who they are, so if I want to have a meal, I'll have a meal. So it does kind of seem like it pushes Beatrice to kind of stand down. But again, like I said, if she was down to one more gem and she wanted to have that for Puck, I can see her choosing, no, I'm going to stand down now because I want to get Puck back here. Cool stuff either way. I was, again, very happy to hear Konomi's voice. I absolutely adore her seiyuu. But yeah, they announced that the towers have been reclaimed. Everything is victory. Doesn't seem like Felt's too happy. Doesn't feel like it's a victory at all. And I think a lot of individuals in this town can see that as well. It really does feel like, rather than them winning, it felt like the witches' cult just left. Yes, they took down one archbishop, they captured another one, but was it a victory? Was it a full-on victory? No, it was just the other side retreated. Yes, we get to see Garf is okay, and yes, Mimi's okay. Mimi shows up. I was so freaking happy to see Mimi showing up. It was really a cool little scene there to kind of see the two bros. Garf is, happy that Subaru's okay. Subaru's happy to see his bros okay. Otto's over there. Nobody knows that Otto's in the room. He's okay, talking about how he doesn't want to, put any burdens upon Subaru. That's why he stepped forward there and did all some crazy stuff. It was a good little scene. Again, seeing Mimi back was that made me happy. Mimi and Garf just keep shipping the two of them. They're super adorable together. It kind of implied that Mimi learned something about being the top. Showing dominance or something like that. I'm like, who's teaching Mimi weird stuff? But yes, also find out that, the Archbishop of Wrath has been captured. That was interesting. They said that Priscilla has captured one of them. So apparently after Sirius went falling into the river, she apparently captured her. So we have a little brief scene where we talk to her, which, from this scene we gather that, she's dead set on Subaru. That she has figured out that Petelgeus is inside of Subaru, and she wants to pull him out. She at some point gets really close and licks him to discover that Petelgeus has been absorbed inside of him. That the two of them are kind of melding together, and that at some point she's going to go to him and she's going to pull her beloved Petelgeus out of Subaru and revive him, which I'm kind of curious about that. Yes, it's obviously implying the idea that, yes, Petelgeus, or at least the power that he got from Petelgeus, has gone inside of Subaru. And yes, with what Amelia's seen when Subaru touched her with the unseen hand, it did imply that Petelgeus was right there at his side. Gyusu was right there. And yes, Amelia doesn't know that Gyus had that ability. So that implies that if Amelia's seen Gyus, that not only the unseen hands are within Subaru, but Petelgeus himself is in Subaru. That's the only way that Amelia would know that they have anything to do with each other. But I would be curious if this does mean, or this is implying, that at some point Sirius will pull Petelgeus back out of Subaru and revive him, essentially. But I think what it really is more leaning towards is that Subaru may at some point have Petelgeus come out of him and possess him at some point. I don't think she'll be able to draw him out of Subaru and make him another entity, but more so the idea that Petelgeus himself can take control of Subaru's body. That's why she's saying take care of your body and your heart, because I want to bring him back. She's basically saying, I want to make Petelgeus take over your body. So that's the massive, question mark right there, is what exactly she intends to do. I love how Amelia somebody licks him and she just hits him with a hammer. I'm kind of a bumblehead, so don't do anything crazy because I can't hold back. I'm just going to punch the hell out of you if you do something like that again. But it's interesting because, yes, they have a meeting afterwards and they talk about what they're going to do with Wrath, with Sirius, and Anastasia immediately like, let's kill him. Which I kind of agree with Anastasia, because with how Sirius works, she can easily charm an area. Because what they ultimately come to is that, yes, Fetus is emotional again. Gotta admit, kind of getting annoying. He's getting a little annoying, but yes, Fetus is just emotional right here. No, we can't kill him because it might have information. And they're saying, no, you can't get information from him. Subaru speaks up and says, hey, we should probably keep him around for a little bit because I think we can get information out of them. Fetus goes crazy and says, you choose a side. Choose a side. Wilhelm's like, sit down, girl. Sit down, Fetus. But then Reinhard speaks up and says, yes, I think it'd be a good idea to keep her around a little bit longer. Let's take her and give her to the Knights. Bring her to the capital. Which, again, I kind of agree there, but I don't think in the capital is a good idea. That's where I'm kind of like, we're setting up something here. The moment Reinhard said, let's take him to the capital, I'm like, we're flagging something right here. Prediction. They're going to take Sirius. They're going to take him to the capital. They're going to lock him up there, hoping to get some information out of them. But I think that's setting up for something. I think there's a chance they intended that Sirius gets beat, captured, and then locked up in the capital. So at some point, Sirius will then use her powers in order to control the entire capital and turn the internals of the capital, change all the knights over to her side, and then pretty much attack the capital. Mark my words, that's going to happen. Mark my words, that will happen. And it's surprising because it seems like they're aware of that their power is dangerous. And I think that's going to be something that will mess with Reinhard later on, because he says, I'll take responsibility. I think that's going to happen. I think the entire capital is going to get turned over, and Reinhard is going to feel guilty for it. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Yes, I did skip it, but when Subaru and Amelia and Beatrice leave and bump into Al, Al once again here bringing up Byaku's name. You're not allowed to say that. Only Subaru is allowed to call me that. Again, I kind of feel like that's that familiarity that Al has with Beatrice that he can't help but say, and it's really bugging her. Again, kind of implies the idea that Al is somehow tied in with Subaru. But again, after this scene, sort of implying that gray area. Because right here, Amelia thanks him. Thanks for relaying that information to Subaru. They go to leave. Beatrice is like, don't get familiar with him. Don't get friendly with that guy. He's dangerous or whatever. But Beatrice, even right here, acknowledging the reason that she was able to help them. And Amelia says it too. The reason why we were able to win this fight is because of what Al did. Al helped us. But Beatrice knows that probably came with blood-stained hands. She's going, I have this. He's like, oh, that's Kiritaka's. Yeah, the gem that we weren't able to get before. How did Al get it? Again, Al probably stole them, at least stole the things. He could have shed blood in order to get those things. But he was able to get them to give them to Beatrice, so now we can get Puck, and we were able to save a lot of people. It's still, in the end, the reason why Beatrice was able to save who she was able to save. He brought Beatrice back from this little coma that she was in, so he's technically a good guy, but at what cost is the question mark there. I love that gray area they're sort of exploring with Al. He's not afraid of betraying people. He's not afraid of killing people, especially innocents, all for the goal of something that he's trying to undo, or something that he foresees is going to happen in order to stop the witch's cult, in order to help who he needs to help, in order to get something done. Very interesting. And Beatrice knows it. Beatrice knows it. Subaru seems to be getting hints of it. Unfortunately, Amelia just wants to see the positives in it. So we do have like 3 different perspectives here. Beatrice knows it's wrong. Subaru is kind of hinting at it. And Amelia doesn't want to see it. Very interesting. The other interesting thing in the scene was what Al said in response to Subaru going to see Sirius. See, it was a waste of time. All it did was make you mad. He says, no, we heard some things that are interesting, so it wasn't a waste. You seem like you're on the same wavelength. I don't know, I might be reading too much in this, but it kind of makes me believe that Al knows that at some point Subaru will in some way get tied in with the witch's cult. Now, it could be that Al is picking up on the fact that Petelgeus is inside of Subaru, and he knows that. And so thus, Subaru would obviously understand the witch's cult because he has one of them inside of him. But it does kind of hint to me that I kind of assumed this a long time ago, because Tappei seems like he's an incredible writer, that at some point we will find out that the witch's cult isn't all bad. Like there's some sort of good cause within there that they are doing that at some point Subaru will discover. He might not like how they're doing it, but he will at least see that the witch's cult probably has a positive for why they're doing what they're doing. Like their end goal is technically the good guys. It's just how to get there is wrong. And that could lead into the idea that, yes, Al might see that Subaru at some point will join them, or at least aid them in some way. But yes, the other thing that was brought up in the meeting afterwards was, of course, what to do with the fly people. When it said fly people, I'm like, what are they? Oh, the people that were turned to flies. I forgot about that. The nameless and the fly people, specifically the fly people. And then Amelia speaks up at some point saying, let me freeze them. Let me do this deep freeze. It seemed like Priscilla wasn't for the idea until Liliana spoke up. Not quite sure why Liliana is so positive on helping Amelia. It seemed like Liliana went out of her way in order to back Amelia and thus change Priscilla's mind. It's odd. I mean, I don't remember them talking really much. So maybe just Liliana's seen something in Amelia that she wanted to help her. But yeah, Priscilla's like, okay, well, if the diva says so, I'll back her. And for some reason, making Amelia her rival. So there you go. That's been established. Liked Priscilla's words though. I really like what she said here. Be quiet, peasant. Working on words alone means nothing. Like, Subaru, you're just talking. Oh no, we don't want to take out anybody. We're going to save everybody. What's your plan? Like, tell us what you want to do. Don't just say, no, that's bad. A little bit of a wake-up call. But damn, Priscilla calling her half-witch. That came out of nowhere like, meow. I don't think we've had anybody really kind of calling Amelia a witch in a long time, but calling her a half-witch. Oof. But yeah, then we have Liliana singing into the Metia, calming everybody's heart, talking about the next morning. No matter what you're going through, there's still a next morning. A little bit of a positivity there. Kiritaka showing up to thank Subaru for defending the city, mentioning the fact that he had plans on dying, or he was prepared to die, but then he thought of Liliana's beautiful song and managed to survive. And it does seem like Kiritaka gave them a gem, because they talk about it later that he was okay with letting them use it. So that was cool. Which, I mean, a nice payment for saving your city is, give us that gem that we originally came here for. Show some brief shots of Felt driving people to work while sitting on top of logs. Looks like Amelia not only froze the fly people, but also the dragon. I thought it was interesting to show the dragon as well. Henkel over there being useless and drinking. Wilhelm looking pretty sad. Then a brief scene of Reinhard showing up to Subaru. Shows me a little hope that Reinhard's not going to go full dark mode yet. Reinhard showing up, Subaru thanking him for helping him save Amelia. Wouldn't been able to do it without you. And then Reinhard saying, I too am honored to have helped you as your friend. At least he looked a lot more positive. I mean, that whole shot with him saving Fetus and stuff, I was like, dude, this guy's turning into a cold-blooded killer. He's lost all of his emotions, but at least right here it shows him being the nice guy again. I don't know. Maybe it's a switch. It could end up being a switch. The idea that whenever he goes into battle, he becomes a sword saint and he loses all of his emotions, but outside of combat, he's still going to be a bro. Again, I don't want Reinhard to go down the dark mode. I don't. Again, Wilhelm, talk to the boy. Wilhelm, please talk to the boy, please. I think Wilhelm has decided at this point just to let him go. Let him be the Sword Saint. Let him go down that same tragic path that he literally was saving his wife from. That was literally what he was saving her from. And it doesn't seem like he sees it with Reinhard, which is like history repeating itself. Ugh. But yeah, then we get the final scene. Subaru hanging out with Amelia, talking about how they were able to kind of save all these people. He's like, I'm kind of happy to see just these two, that they're safe. The two that started everything, Tina and Luzbel, that they're okay. But no, it's something that they all achieved together. Then he sees Ricardo. Ricardo lost his arm, and then sees Julius. Julius is over in the corner, just hiding in the shadows, and Subaru runs over, and he says, Subaru, you know me? Julius is acting weird, and then Amelia shows up. And again, they fake it out, but I knew it was going to be... Okay, let's say this. Okay, he sees him. Julius turns around and says, Subaru, you know me? Okay, Gluttony. I immediately click Gluttony. I don't know why Subaru doesn't immediately connect that. Maybe it's just that kind of disbelief that Subaru is in at that moment. Like, no, I don't want to believe... Like, his brain doesn't want to accept what he's saying. Like, oh, here it is again. It's this all over again. But when Amelia runs up, yes, there's a fake out here. She runs up, she smiles at him, just like Amelia would. Amelia wouldn't look at somebody with displeasure or anger or whatever. This girl's too pure. But it has this drawn out pause, I guess, to try to make you believe that Amelia's going to know. But my brain was like, there's only two possibilities here. Either it's a fake out, or for some reason, Amelia is so, like, I guess, connected to Subaru now that she, along with him, will be the only people that will still remember him. I knew it was going to be a fake out. I just knew it was going to be a fake out. I feel bad for Julius, though. In the end, I still feel bad for the dude. He is a very important guy, but there is an aspect that I think we haven't spent too much time with him, that it doesn't really connect to me as much as somebody like Rem was, but we'll see where that goes. But that's it. That's a much more talk about than I thought originally that I'm going to be talking about, but that's it for the season. What a fantastic season, though. Overall, fantastic season. Again, I think it found a good stopping point. I really kind of feel like they shouldn't have done the Julius thing at the very end there. It kind of makes it feel like, ugh, but I don't know. We'll see the next season. It seems like they're kind of dead set on the idea of possibly going after Gluttony. I'm hoping that they go after Gluttony next. Having Rem in the key art for the next season makes me think that it's a possibility that Rem is somebody they got to bring with them. And I think Julius was in the picture too, if I remember correctly, right? Yeah, Julius is with them. And I kind of assumed that Julius was going to be with them. Either way, I'm super excited. And like I said, there seems to be a lot of hype around this next arc. So I'm hoping they'll deliver on it. Again, hopefully the studio takes their time. Just cook it and make it really incredible. Because again, it seems like everybody's excited for it. So hopefully it's done well. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the episode and the season finale, and thank you guys for joining me every single week for my impressions on this series. It was a lot of fun. I absolutely love this series and looking forward to more. As per usual, I greatly appreciate your guys' support. If you like this content and want to support the channel more, I have links in the description below. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe before you leave. Hit the like button if you haven't already, and I thank you all for watching, and I'll take care.